Hello, this is the news update. As Parliament resumed at almost 11 a.m. this morning for today's sitting, lights were off with no working air conditions in the chambers. However, prayers went ahead in the dark chambers. Following the prayers, the Deputy Speaker, K92 Mining, pointed out the obvious and explained the inability to use the standby generators. The sitting was then adjourned to Thursday, 5th June 2025 at 10 a.m.
I'd like to advise Parliament that due to power blackouts last night, it had affected our generator, standby generator, and now it already affected the aircon, and while we were praying, you can see that we have a blackout today. So, honorable members, I adjourn Parliament to tomorrow, 10 o'clock a.m.
Prime Minister James Marape has reaffirmed his government's unwavering commitment to the Independent Commission Against Corruption amid internal leadership tensions between the Commissioner and Assistant Commissioners of the newly formed institution. Prime Minister Marape confirmed that the ICAC Appointments Committee, which comprises the Prime Minister, the Chief Justice, the Leader of the Opposition, the Chairman of the Public Services Commission, and the Chairman of the PNG Council of Churches, has met to deliberate on the matter and has sought legal advice from the State Solicitor and the Department of Justice. He assured the nation that the committee is treating this matter with the utmost seriousness and asked the citizens not to lose faith in the institution. Citing the stringent process they followed to establish this institution, he said it is disheartening that the very individuals selected through a rigorous and internationally supervised process are now entangled in internal disputes that is compromising the institution's integrity. The ICAC Appointments Committee has now been directed to prepare a detailed report, legal guidance reviewed, and a formal paper submitted to Cabinet for consideration. Once recommendations are endorsed, Cabinet will take swift and responsible action to restore stability within ICAC. Police in the nation's capital are working tirelessly to combat the increasing sexual assaults involving women and girls in certain parts of the city. Metropolitan Superintendent of the National Capital District, Warwick Simatab, said the command is very concerned about recent reports of women and girls being sexually assaulted and is taking strong steps to address this issue. He said no women or girls should feel unsafe walking on the streets, going to school, to work, or even in her own home. He therefore urged the public, especially men, to respect women. He also called on the victims of those who witnessed such a crime to report immediately to the police. Prime Minister James Marape has welcomed the passage of the Biocurity Bill 2025, describing it as a monumental event. The Parliament yesterday unanimously passed the Biocurity Bill 2025 with a resounding 83-0 vote, signaling a renewed national commitment to protecting PNG's biodiversity, agricultural productivity, and trade sovereignty. He said the new act sits right at the heart of protecting the borders, PNG's biodiversity, agriculture, and the economy. The Biosecurity Bill 2025 repeals and replaces several outdated laws, many dating back to the colonial era, and consolidates them under a single, modern legislative framework. This includes the Quarantine Act 1953, the Animal Disease Control Act of 1952, the Plant Disease and Control Act 1953, and the Nakia Act of 1997. It also establishes a new independent authority called Biosecurity PNG, which replaces the National Agriculture Quarantine and Inspection Authority.
uniquely endemic to our country, and biodiversity, in my view and considered view, in the heart of it lies the economic security of our country. Our biodiversity is our wealth. It must be protected.
A proud moment for Papua New Guinea's creative industry as a fashion delegation represents PNG for Fiji Fashion Week 2025. Leading the team in renowned cultural fashion icon Florence Jaukai Kamal celebrated globally as the Bilum Mary for her handmade Bilum couture. She was joined by PNG Fashion Week brand ambassador Insania Means, who modeled on the Fiji runway, and Bridget Casman, executive assistant to the managing director. The delegation represented PNG's growing influence in regional fashion, with support from cornerstone partner Air New Guinea, who sponsored the travel to Suva. Also present at the departure was designer William Mababre, who will collaborate with Kamal at the upcoming Bilum Festival in Goroka. PNG Fashion Week says the trip reflected the theme Genesis, symbolizing new beginnings, deeper connections, and cultural pride on the global stage. Millions of workers will get a real pay rise next month after the Fair Work Commission handed down its annual decision on the minimum wage and award agreements. The Commission says businesses can afford the higher wage bill, and it wanted to make up for workers sliding backwards over the past few years.
William Siemens puts his life on the line as a security guard for a base wage of just over $1,000 a week.
The industry does need a pay rise. A lot of people don't realise security officers, wherever we are, we're on award. That's our base.
All industry awards and the minimum wage are going up by 3.5% in July.
This inflationary episode is now over. This provides us with an opportunity to go at least some of the way towards correcting what has happened over the last 4 years by awarding a real increase.
Fair Work's annual ruling gives the lowest paid workers an extra 85 cents an hour to just under $25, bringing the minimum wage up to $948 a week or $49,000 a year.
It's a great outcome because it's 1.1% more than inflation.
The union movement had lobbied for an increase of 4.5%, while the government asked the Commission for an economically sustainable real wage rise.
This decision will not just help them get by, but will start to help them get ahead.
I think the Commission could do better. We're dealing with the poorest 20% of the labour market. They only account for 10% of total labour costs.
Business groups were lobbying for much less.
Retail, hospitality, restaurants and cafes, they've been doing it tough. Many of those small businesses will really struggle to afford an increase of this magnitude.
The Commission says it's satisfied that businesses can handle this higher wage bill. It says that profits have been steady and that business conditions are likely to improve as lower interest rates boost spending power.
These people aren't going to go out there and blow inflation. People on these wages will get maybe, a McDonald's meal for their kids.
With the interest rates, with this, it's a start.
The ACTU wants an even bigger boost next year.
High breast density makes breast cancer harder to detect through routine mammograms and is an independent risk factor for developing breast cancer. Breast Screen Australia has updated its national policy to recommend everyone screened be informed in writing of their breast density, but currently only New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia and Western Australia do so.
Jenny Edwards had no idea she had dense breasts until she was diagnosed with cancer.
So as well as a tumour in my left breast, I had 2 fibroadenomas, which are other sorts of lumps, but benign lumps. And in my right breast, I had a cyst.
A routine mammogram earlier this year showed irregularities. A 3D scan and ultrasound followed, as did the news about her high breast density.
I certainly wasn't aware. Dense breasts, it's harder to detect the lumps and tumours yourself. And even on the imaging, it's not as obvious. So the second round of imaging is what made things much clearer. So very lucky.
Breast density refers to a person's mix of breast tissue. Fatty tissue is transparent on a mammogram, while dense tissue is opaque. The higher a person's breast density, the higher their risk of developing cancer, and the harder it is to detect the disease if it develops.
We know that maybe 1 in 3 women will have dense breasts.
Breast cancer specialist John Boyages says it's vital women are aware of their own breast density.
It's important that women are armed with that knowledge. There's no doubt about it. So, and it can save lives.
Just last week, Breast Screen Australia, the government-funded national cancer screening program, changed its position statement on breast density. Its policy had been not to record or report it to patients, but now it recommends all women are informed in writing as part of routine screening. It's already standard practice in some parts of the country, but not in the ACT yet.
The timeline is hopefully early next year, but could be towards the middle of next year.
Jenny had surgery to remove the tumour and is now having radiation treatment. She considers herself one of the lucky ones.
The outcomes are very good if you get it nice and early.
A task made easier when women are well informed.
In sports, K92 Mining, the operator of the K92 gold mine in Eastern Highlands Province, has announced the renewal and expansion of its official sponsorship of the PNG Hunters. Building on the successful partnership launched in 2024, the new 2-year gold partnership agreement will run from November 1st, 2025 to October 31st, 2027. Under the renewed partnership, K92's logo will continue to feature on the back of PNG Hunters plain shorts and will expand to include the back of training tees and singlets. K92 will also benefit from prominent stadium signage, media and digital platform placement, and enhanced community engagement opportunities, including access to Hunters players for outreach and corporate social responsibility initiatives. Moses Tolingling, an iconic pioneer athlete and technical officer. His name is synonymous with rugby league and softball in Papua New Guinea. Moses' involvement with various sports for over 4 decades serves as an inspiration for both current and future generations. His passion covers multiple sports including table tennis, soccer, softball, touch rugby and rugby league, where he has played pivotal roles as both an athlete and a technical official.
From Metakavil village, TVWAN province, Moses has long been a respected figure in PNG sports. Tolingling pursued his primary and secondary education in New Ireland, later completing 2 years at the Sagari National High in 1973 and 1974. Moses' rugby league journey commenced in Midday, where he played as a winger and fullback and contributed to the founding of the iconic Midday Muruks during the Highland Zone trials, prior to the national competition's inception in 1990. Highlights from his playing days include a significant victories over teams like Mount Hagen and Goroka. After a decade of playing, he transitioned to officiating, and though he later focused more heavily on softball umpiring, his passion for rugby league has remained since.
Started as a winger, playing winger, and then I ended up playing fullback in Midday. Represented one of the founding fathers of Midday Muruks in the Islands Zone at that time. By 1984, after Midday defeated Goroka and Agen, I decided to step down and give way to the young generation.
A defining moment in his career was serving as a touch judge for the PNG Kumuls in 1982 during an historic match against the Australian Kangaroos for the Sir Torre Loko Loko Cup. This opportunity marked not only a significant milestone in Moses' life, but also showcased the potential of Papua New Guineans to excel in both playing and officiating roles. Further recognition of his abilities came with selection as technical official for the Pacific Cup in Samoa in 1988, highlighting his status among the top referees in the country alongside Graham Hainui and Tom Pellis.
And in 1982, I did my first international game as a touch judge between the PNG Cumuls and the Kangaroos at the Lloyd Robson Oval on 2nd of October 1982 when they were playing for the late Sir Torre Local Cup.
Officiating in the Queensland Cup in 1996 and 1997 marked another significant chapter where he demonstrated his capability and composure in high-pressure environments, notably sending off a player amid applause from spectators for the decision, reinforcing his belief in upholding the sport's integrity.
My first game, it was between Ipswich Jets and Brisbane East, and I sent off this player from Ipswich. His name was Jeff Prince, and he was playing number 4 for Ipswich. First offense, of course, as usual, he was given a verbal warning. The second one was a penalty. The third one, sin bin, and then the last one was a send-off. And you know, for me, when I sent him off, the crowd clapped, and to me, they appreciated the decision I made because they didn't like the way he was playing. And to me, I did it for Papua New Guinea and nothing more.
Reflecting on his journey, Moses' hope is for the next generation of referees to aspire to greatness. He believes that through hard work and dedication, local referees can elevate their standards to meet international benchmarks. Terry Longwood, TVWAN Sports.
That's been today's news update. Do join us at 6 p.m. for our main bulletin. Bye for now.